help of this intelligent, the data will be coming from this intelligent platform. So this is a generic architecture, or this is a generic things which is there in a BMS system. I have not come to the IoT yet. I am just discussing the building management system and how technology has actually barged into, how technology is leveraging all the building items, all the items which is within the building, which is all the items which is with the building and within the building. So now coming to that, I have discussed you that all these things are there in your building, and all these things are there. Your requirements are also, I have discussed you that what in which all things you remain interested in. Now our talk of today is the IoT and BMS, the Internet of Things and the building management system. So just to give you the definition kind of thing, maybe most of you are familiar also that what IoT is. IoT is just nothing other than the Internet of Things. What thing is? Thing is any physical object. It is a network of physical objects that will be called the IoT, connected over internet for exchange of data. Maybe HU, maybe your AC, maybe your light, maybe your environment data, anything which is giving the data over the internet, and based on that data you can decide something, you can take some decisions, or based on that decisions you can control that item also. Like sir has asked you that whether environment quality is a matter of IoT or not. You have answered well. Yes, there are the various kind of sensors are there, which is a thing in my case. So those sensors will be giving the data of environment to the server, and based on that I can take decision. Yes, mobile, there is a question that mobile is an IoT device or not. So mobile is also an IoT device, because nowadays it has not remained a dumb machine. It has actually converted into a very odd thing, which is actually controlling you. So that's why it is an IoT device. It can be controlled and it can give the data. So connected, it is connected over internet, exchange of data. So that's what our things are, or any physical object it can be. If I'm talking about IoT, it generally remains consumer centric, means it is individualistic in nature for your home appliance purposes, majorly for the control applications, and it remains non-critical. What does that mean? Normally, if I'm talking about any system through where I can turn on and off my light and fan applications through my phone or maybe through my voice. So I am here bothered only turning it on and off. So that's what is a control application. It is a non-critical also, because if maybe due some network failure, if I have not been able to turn on or off my light and fan using my mobile, I can turn it using switch also. So that's a non-critical application. So that will come under the IoT. But once this will come in terms of the business means, like if I'm talking about a factory, which factory is completely internet connected, all you sitting at your house or maybe at your office, you give the commands to that factory machines, the cobots. These are nowadays cobots and robots are there. So you give command to those robots over the internet, and they make certain kind of products. But if in this scenario, if due to certain network failure or something due to your network architecture based problems, that won't work properly, or some problem has occurred, maybe you have not got the proper data, maybe you have not got the proper architecture of that, it can lead to a critical problem. Your production will halt, maybe you will produce wrong number of products, maybe you have to produce a red color, maybe you have to produce a red color furniture, and due to your wrong commands or maybe due to network connections, you are producing now a blue color, your machine is producing now a blue color furnitures. So what will happen? All your inventory will go waste. So in these scenario, if I'm talking about the Internet of Things, because here also the robots, the connected things, the machines are the things for me, which is connected over the internet for exchange of data. So in this case, it will be considered as the industrial Internet of Things. right? So this is Internet of Things is. Now there is some confusion is coming on that. Let me just clear it you. There is a question coming that if I'm controlling my home appliances, you can see on the chat also that without using the mobile, but not over the internet. So yes, intranet can also work over here. If you have set up an intranet kind of a structure where you are controlling the data, you have a personal server, you have a personal mechanism, you have a personal communication network, and you are controlling and doing the exchange of the data for the purpose of your control and for the purpose of the analytics. So it can be considered under the Internet of Things. It is not only that it will go over the WAN, over the public network. You can also set such kind of a structure and it can be considered as an Internet of Things. Maybe you can set a Bluetooth network based personal server network, and that can be considered as a IoT. But generally what happens in terms of, so IoT can be implemented, but if I'm talking about industrial Internet of Things, generally personal scenario doesn't work out, because there we have to consider about the cloud that I will be coming. We have to consider about the cloud and all of the things. So there the internet has to be in the picture. Then industrial Internet of Things will be based only majorly on the internet, not directly on your personal networks. Another term, it is the building management system. So we are toying this word building management system very frequently, but there are other names of this also. It can be a building automation system. Many of people can term it as building automation system. Many of people can term it as management and control system, BMCS, or BSCS people also call it, building automation control system also call it, or building control system. So there are different name of the same thing, and the main thing is the building management system. Means the system, the microprocessor based system, actually it is actually an intelligent microprocessor based system which centralizes and simplifies. Means this is a centralized system which controls, monitor, operate and manage whom? The building, the items within the building, the things within the building, the physical objects within the building. For what? For management of the virtual items. What we have discussed in this before and this slide, we have these physical things like HU units, the lighting equipments, the sensors, all the things are the physical, which is controlling the virtual units like weather, ambient light, the access control, the digital access control, all the things are there. So main task of this BMS system is to control, monitor, operate and manage your all of the building tasks. And there is a protocol. There must be a kind of a communication mechanism between all the items are. So Modbus is one major communication protocol, or a very common protocol which has been used for this building management system. There are many other, this is not only one, there are many other protocols are there. I am talking which is most commonly used and which we will use, which we will see in your all around. So Modbus is the one protocol that we are talking here of the as the communication protocol. And what the targets we have to achieve with this help of this building management system? We have to achieve a target of a safe and comfortable working environment. First, that is actually the most required thing in terms of any living place where we are in. The second thing is energy saving and efficiency. If I have to see the lots of like 50 to 60% of energy in which is being consumed by these commercial buildings, and in that 50-60%, if we take that 50-60% as a 100 totality, 40 to 50% of that energy is being consumed by those HE units and the ventilation units, means HVAC systems. So if I have a certain mechanism, if I have some means through which I can leverage the use of technology, I can manage those units, we can save a lot of energy. And that's why our target of BMS remains always to save the energy. So this is a target to achieve. And third one is the reduce the resources, time and cost. That is actually not the target of the BMS. That is actually remains the target of your client. Am I right? So they always want to reduce the resources because resources are very limited. The time is very limited and money is very limited. So whenever we are, so the main benefit of technology is to reduce all these things are. So that's why it always becomes a factor whenever we have to achieve any technological achievement. So these three things that we want to achieve using the BMS. Just to give you some brief introductions which we are talking about. So this is the introduction that I'm talking about only on the standalone BMS. We had a topic of IoT and BMS. So first I'm discussing the BMS systems. So BMS is generally used, the BMS is generally considered for mainly HVAC systems. If you go to any of these implementation agencies who make the BMS systems, they will generally first talk you about these HVAC units only. There are lots of things in the building, and there are lots of solutions are also there in the building for the building management system. So there are lots of things are there in the building, but generally people consider it as a HVAC system only, working for the HVAC system only. So heating, ventilation, air conditioning system. They include devices like I have just discussed you. These HVAC units are like your AHU units, the fans, the chillers, in the kitchen units. Thereafter the pumps are there. The variable frequency devices are there, like different kind of drives and motors are there. Thereafter your environment quality monitorings are there, like CO2 level measurement, the humidity level measurement, the temperature level measurement, all the things are there. The fire hydrants, the fire systems are there. So BMS is generally considered for this kind of systems only, the standalone BMS that I'm talking about. If I talk about what are those components of the BMS are, so first one is the centralized workstation. So that workstation is actually a software. BMS is a system, so it will be a combination of a hardware and software. So hardwares are the units which is taking the data from our things, like different things I have talked about. These HVAC units are there, the sensors are there. So these are our units in terms in our case. So this hardware will be implemented on those units, and the workstation computer, there is a centralized computer system is there within the building, which is having a powerful BMS software. There are lots of companies who are giving the BMS softwares, like if I talk, Honeywell is there, one good software making. Siemens has a very nice software features for these central workstation computers for the BMS machines, BMS. So it is running with the BMS software, which manages and control all the activities of your hardware. Like if I have to turn on a HU unit at 8 o'clock in the morning and turn off it at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, so this event scheduling will be done by the BMS software, and this thing can be managed, this thing can be entered into the BMS, and it will work perfectly. Same thing will happen for the lights, that if corridor light, if I'm talking about reception area in a hotel, if I'm talking about the reception area doesn't remain occupied after 10 o'clock in the night maybe, so the lights get dim after 10 o'clock. That's what the scenario that we can make. So this all things are being considered, this all things are being managed using the BMS software, and this is a central unit, generally remains with the executive engineer or with the hotel or with the infrastructure, this software. Now there are how the data will be come to these BMS software, these central workstation. This will come through the DDC controllers. They are called, they are DDC controllers, data controllers they are, or actually they are also called VLC. The name, there are different names are there, and this will be connected to the building control management system loop. So there is a whole, the Modbus that I have talked about. So in that Modbus communication loop, the whole in the whole building, a kind of a wired structure is going through. In that wired structure, all the DDC units are getting connected, and it can pass the data on the network, because it is not possible, like I have a 4 HU units in a hotel. It is not possible for me to draw a separate communication line and take it to the downwards of the building, to the basement of the building, and connect it with workstation. I won't have a facility where I have hundreds of lights in a building, and I draw a separate wire from those lights and connect it to my workstation. This is not a physical, this is not a kind of a physical infrastructure that we can make, because already we have the electrical lines going throughout the building, and it already remains a very big havoc for management. It doesn't remain possible to draw another communication line from the each devices. So we have a single communication line going throughout the building, and that is been implemented over the Modbus, and these devices are connected. So these are the DDC controllers are been connected. So these are actually the microprocessor. Again, these are the microprocessor based units. Microcontrollers are there actually. It is fully programmable, means you can change the parameters and all the things of this based on your requirement, which is connected to those HVAC units, and can give the data to this centralized workstation computer. I am just to mention you, in one BCM loop, there are 65 VLC or DDC can be connected. So if your devices are more than that, you have to draw another line from the BCM to connect to the workstation. And our third component is the devices, like your sensors, the drives, the control units, the actuators, who all are there into our building. So this is the components of BMS is. What the features that we have using the BMS? First one, that features it can provide me is that it has a man-to-machine interface. Like you have the machines which is giving the data, and it is being implemented onto our software system. Now I have, there is a question from Valve. There are the valves are there to operate, like there are multiple machines, there are multiple liquid control machines are there, liquid vending machines are there, which need to be controlled automatically. Maybe your gases systems also we can consider over here, like your in kitchen there is automatic gas controls, gas monitoring systems are there, like whatever the LPG system, if your kitchen is running, so it can automatically control the flow of the gas. So valve is the one hardware actually. Solenoid valves are generally there. Maybe you have seen in the water vending machines or all these places where you just when you go to the just wash basin and you just place your hand beneath the this tap, and the water automatically flows. So the valve is there which is controlling all the items over there. So we need to consider those valves also, whether it is a small or big in the buildings. So the features are there, the man-machine interface. First one feature that it gives for the operators, for the engineers to control all the items of the building. It gives us the reporting, customized reporting, because reporting is very much required for the management, because management doesn't know that when he doesn't have any interest that when the HU is turning on and off. He remains only interested that yes, I have implemented a kind of a system, how much money I am saving from this. Like if implementing this system, if my HU is running at its own efficiency level, like it is not going to be scheduled time on off, it is running at efficiency level of the occupancy, it is giving me the money, because if I am saving, I am earning the money. So that's what the reporting structures that it can give the BMS. Security it can give you, like unauthorized access to your system or unauthorized access to your devices and data, like CCTV camera I am talking about. So you are having a CCTV feed coming in, which is getting stored on a server. Now, it is not, if you have implemented a complete BMS system, it is not possible for anyone to barge into that system and delete some clips in between, if there is certain case. So everything is being logged. So that's what the kind of a feature that BMS gives. The data representation, the data logging, each and every event is being logged, so that you can manage and you can get the idea that yes, this is the point where my system has gone into fault. So the data logging is there, all the cases of this. Thereafter, remote connectivity it should give me. Just I had talked that how it is possible for internet and intranet based systems. So yes, if we have a kind of a BMS system, so we can have those internet and intranet both. So remote access it gives. Thereafter, the alarm management, like I'm talking about any chiller. My chiller temperature has gone below a certain, I have set it at maybe minus 10 degrees centigrade, and it is over chilling, and now the temperature has gone below minus 12 degrees centigrade. So what will happen? The food items I have kept within it will start going to bad, or maybe it is actually overutilizing my energy levels. My electricity will be going higher because I don't want to go a temperature go below minus 10 degrees centigrade, but it is now going minus 12 degrees centigrade. So my electricity bill is going up. So that's why alarm management features are there, that if this scenario happens, you can get an idea beforehand that yes, you don't have to you have to control the systems, you have to control the your things beforehand. The scheduling it can do, like time scheduling it does, like whether the time scheduling of your machines it can do. So if I have to talk in a nutshell, all the you can see on my screen, starting from the operator functions to the IO devices functions, starting from the top level, from where the person is sitting for the operation, for the reporting purpose, to the below level, to the beneath level, where my devices are there. All the things come under our BMS system. Whether it is your management functions, whether it is your processing functions, whether it is your giving the things on the backup, whether it is your operational hours calculation, whether it is your timely programming features, whether it is your scheduling, all the things are coming under the BMS control systems, BMS management systems. And all this can be used for the planning for a better environment, for a better society, or for a better building structure. Like if I have a, how is this beneficial? Like if I take just a use case, like I have to install a lift in a building. Now I don't know that on which floor. I have a 10 floor building. I don't know that what is the how many number of lifts are required for my purpose, or how many lifts are required on which number of floor. Like I have segregated that from 1 to 4 floor. I will give 2 lifts. From 4th to 6th number of floor, I will give only 1 lift. From 6th to 10th level of floor, I will give 4 lifts. So this is just my estimation. But if I have a complete building management system implemented, if I have implemented some kind of sensors over there which can sense and which can give me an idea that how much remain occupied my floors are, I can plan it better. Your architect can plan it better, that yes, if first 3 floors are more occupied, we will need more lifts on the first 3 floors. If last 2 floors are non-occupied or very less occupied, we don't require more than 1 lift on the top floor. So this is how the planning is done for the kind of installations, for the kind of architecting these with the help of these building management system. Just a little more brief that what the BMS gives us. So BMS gives us the facilities for energy management, for the facility management, or for the space management. These 3 are actually the building energy management is the utmost priority, because if you are making any building nowadays, there are the various building codes are there. You are much remain in touch with all of them. There are lots of Samhitas are there. Some days back I was also seeing that energy efficiency Samhitas are there, which Ministry of Power has decided for you. So the carbon emission norms that you need to consider, the heating norms that you need to consider. So all these things can be managed through these energy management systems. So we have these energy efficiency management system in the BMS. Facility management is very much required, because once the building is in the running state, there are the facilitators within the building, there are the assets within the building, and those assets are the various equipments. So those assets needs to be managed. So facilities are managed through these facility management system of the BMS. And the space management system, that which place is more occupied, which place is less occupied, where more energy is getting consumed, where less light is coming. So all these things can be managed, and based on that you can plan your interior also of your building. So this thing can be given using this BMS. So it optimizes the energy, improves the efficiency, and it increases the revenue actually at the end of the day, because maybe I have planned something where light, where I planned all the events where more light is coming, more ambient light is coming in the daytime, and the places where less light is coming, I can plan the events in the night time there. So I can save the lighting here, that we plan the events not in the backyards, maybe onto the front spaces, or maybe onto the places where the more light, ambient light is coming. I can plan an event in the daytime over there. So space management can be a beneficial thing for this, and all this are being managed by controlling and the monitoring that you can see on the screen. There are the various devices that I have written over here, and just you can see it over here. I just done it. It needs not to name every time. So main purpose is to monitor and control these devices and monitor the systems. With the help of these monitoring of the systems, we have the data analytics generated. Based on these data analytics, we have the report statements and incident management, like if any problem has occurred, how we have solved it. Actually, it is best to be used that the problem should be solved within the least possible time of the system, because the system should not remain in a downtime. So that's how the incident management system works. And finally, the optimization, that how I can plan beforehand that my system has not gone into a failure, my system has not gone into a down state. So with the help of this optimization, we plan with the help of this. How this, there is a cycle of this. So first there's a data monitoring is done. Thereafter the data maintenance is done, means you are continuously, this is in actually a loop. So you are continuously monitoring the data of the system, of your things, and from the things the data is coming in, and you are actually maintaining those data. Maintaining those data means we are converting it into our own formats for our report generation. So we do the data maintenance kind of thing, and from there the data maintenance we generate the analytics. Like I have a HU unit data. So from the raw item, I am getting the data from the HU every 5 seconds or maybe every 10 seconds. Now my system is consuming that data in a proper format at every 5 minutes. I'm taking that data. Maybe I'm taking the temperature level of my room at every 5 minutes so that I can control the HU. So here my sensor is taking the data at every 10 seconds. That every 10 second data is being consumed and being calculated by my microprocessor system. It is getting stored somewhere. After 5th minute, my data is being sent to the central workstation. So here the data maintenance process has happened. You are getting the data at every 10 seconds, the raw data, and you are maintaining that data and give it into a format after 5 minutes to the central workstation, that you should now control the temperature level of the HU, or maybe you should control the speed of the motor so that the HU can run at its higher efficiency or its lower efficiency. Maybe it is getting heated, the room is getting heated, so you need to fasten the motor so that the HU can cool in a better way. So that's how we do the data maintenance, and from here the analytics and control happens. So we have got the data at every 5 minutes. Based on that, we are generating the analytics, that what is the efficiency of my HU is now over a time period. Is my HU motor is going bad? So the analytics we are generating from here, because over a time period its cooling capacity will also lessen. It will happen that on the diaphragms the dust will come, so we need to kind of generate analytics that in how much time period the dust generally comes on the HU unit's diaphragm, so that I can clean it automatically. My HU unit will remain functional every time. And from here we control also, because here I have got the data at every 5th minute, so I can control the HU unit's functionality. So that's how the smart system works in case of the BMS. But if it is a generic BMS systems, which I have very much earlier talked, that it is a standalone BMS system, if it is, it will just give you the data. You can just take the report, and based on that you give to the engineer that yes, this HU unit has to be managed every 6 months. Maybe the dust on the diaphragm gets accumulated in every three months. So there is a schedule is been maintained that after every 3 months you have to clean the dust on the HU unit. But if it is a smart BMS system using these three loop structure, so my system is getting information that every time, in every update, my system is getting informed that yes, I have to clean the dust maybe after a month also. Because if it is a say dusty season, say it is a more winds are coming in, if it is a maybe in an open place, I can do the things beforehand so that my HUM will remain efficient. There is a very small data is there that I have just talked about, that 59% of the consumption and the 40% in the consumption levels. So that's what that is more relevant for the energy efficiency management levels. So how these things